look like an asshole?
What if you can get a yarmulke that fits your bald spot? So like if you have like a giant one, you could get a bigger one. It just you know what I mean? Like it doesn't
like a designer yarmulke.
Designer yarmulkes.
They must have designer yarmulkes.
So I was running the marathon, training for the marathon one year, and I would run through Newton, which is like heavily Jewish, and I was with this.
Good. Is it recording? We're in. All right. Well, you can finish your story.
I'll roll with this. I was training for the marathon.
I want to move that mic in a little more.
I was training for the marathon in Boston one year, and I was with this girl, Catherine, and we were running through Newton, which is like a very Jewish city or town, and both of us saw the same thing from the same distance. We had to be like, I don't know, 100 feet away, and there was this like 9-year-old boy bent down tying his shoe.
I don't know where this is going, Don.
He had his head... I do. He had his head like leaning towards, and both of us, like 100 feet away, just like looked at each other after looking at him, and we were like, "Is that a swoosh?" He had a yarmulke with a little swoosh on it, and we could see it from like 100 feet away. And then like we got closer, and that was a swoosh.
Now the question is, does Nike manufacture yarmulkes,
or did this kid,
or is he ripping it off, and Nike should sue?
Yeah, go after this kid. But I was like,
why not go with the Jordan logo? Yeah.
Maybe he wasn't down with Jordan. Maybe he just liked Nike.
Yeah. Has there been a Jewish professional basketball player?
There absolutely has to have been. I can't think of. Do you have any?
I don't know, man. I mean, we've all seen Airplane, you know.
Famous Jewish athletes.
The leaflet on famous Jewish athletes. But I got to think, I mean, there's definitely been, Jay Fiedler, there's been football players. There's got, and obviously Sandy Koufax. But I can't think of a Jewish basketball player that like a, I mean, maybe I also don't know like people's religion in the NBA.
And also, you could have a non-Jewish name where somebody is Jewish, but they don't have a Jewish name.
What if Kyrie Irving converts to Judaism? You think that'll make up for
I
his
think that'll squash
reposting of Black Israelite material?
I still don't fully understand the story. So, like, he posted a black.
So I guess he reposted a link to a documentary,
Israelites?
About the Black Israelites, and they are a very militant and pretty racist group of people.
I've seen footage of them. They don't look pleasant.
No, dude. Well, we were in Seattle. The last time we were in Seattle doing shows, me and Jeff, there was, 3 or 4 Black Israelites standing on the street, and they just like scream out, they like proselytize in the street, they're whatever their fucking message is. And just like a normal like 30-year-old white woman's walking by, and they're like, holler, they're like saying the message, yeah, walk on, white devil bitch. I'm like, whoa. And these guys are all armed too. They were all like had guns on their hips. I imagine they had a license for them. But like, that can't be, you're just intimidating people on the street with a firearm on. Like, there's got to be some give. They're like, hey, guy, if you want to scream at people, you can't have a gun on you too.
I'm thinking that
you can't do both.
I'm thinking maybe they're the problem. Like, I'm going to go out on a limb and say maybe you're bringing some of the anger to the party.
Yeah.
Which I find ironic.
Yeah, but I guess the Black Israelites claim to be like the lost tribe of Israel, and the white Jews are the devil. I mean, I don't follow their logic.
I don't have any knowledge of this, but if they're the Black Israelites, they're not Jewish, because that doesn't make sense to me. So
yeah.
Like, granted, I don't. From what I said, from what I understand, they're just a very angry group of people. But I'm just like, so if Kyrie, but it would seem like if they're the Black Israelites, Kyrie would be posting.
Yeah,
Jewish group.
Yeah, I guess the Black Israelites are anti-Semitic. I guess who knows? Listen, we don't do any research on this show, as you know. No reading, no research, just strong opinions.
But just strong opinion. There will be no knowledge in this, but there will be tons of opinion.
Yeah, exactly. I've not read anything on these. I've only run into them in New York like a half a dozen times and once in Seattle. So I know they're like angry black guys who like to scream at people on the street. That's all I know about the Black Israelites. But I imagine their message carries some anti-Semitic remarks, which is why Kyrie got in trouble.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I love Chappelle's line that he did on Saturday Night Live. I thought it was so funny. He was talking about Kanye, and he goes, Kanye West got in so much trouble, he got Kyrie in trouble. I was like, that's a great line.
Yeah, that's he's fucking the best. Anyway, welcome to the Ready Set Blow podcast, episode 333. Don, this is coming out in 2 weeks.
Is it really?
Yeah, this is getting pre-taped, so I think it'll come out after that. When's Thanksgiving? Next week?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, whatever. Well, we're here with Don Zollo, my man, from Boston in LA for the winter. Are you going to go back for Thanksgiving?
I'm not going back for Thanksgiving. I'll probably go back for Christmas. Christmas is way more important to me than Thanksgiving.
You see, I've had this argument with people before, like what's the best holiday? I think Thanksgiving is the best. I think Christmas is overrated. Thanksgiving is underrated. But
Thanksgiving dinner is overrated.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hot take that you're that passionate about Thanksgiving, but not passionate about the dinner.
I mean, look, listen, chicken's better than turkey. That's a fact. That's a fucking fact. I would love to have someone debate me on that fucking topic. Duck's better than chicken. The smaller the bird, the more the flavor. That big ass fucking dry bird, you know, you have to deep fry the fucking thing for it to taste good. Set your goddamn yard on fire. Like it's just a pain in the ass.
You're putting up a compelling argument about the food, but I'm Italian. And the Super Bowl of food is Christmas Eve.
Oh yeah, the Feast of the Seven Fishes, right? Yeah,
I'm all guinea'd up when it comes to that.
You throw on a wife beater and smack a girl around.
Exactly. I don't even have a girl.
You get a belt and start hitting kids. Not even your kids.
I just invite one to do it. No, I'm bringing that Italian tracksuit energy to the table. On
Full Tony
Christmas
Soprano.
Eve.
You're in a bathrobe.
My brother, I find this hilarious. I'm obviously, with my last name Zollo, of Italian descent, but I always think about this. I'm like, I'm older than my brother, and when I went away to college, the way I phrase it is, I don't know what happened when I went away to college, but I came back and my brother came out of the closet as an Italian. Like my brother is very Italian.
Really?
Oh, he's like.
Does he have a gold chain?
Oh, he is
white on white furniture.
He
and
is
cars,
chains,
all that.
black caddy, tracksuit, slick hair.
Oh my God!
Talks with his hands, and I'm like, what happened when I went to college? I go like,
you started hanging out with the wrong crowd.
You became very Italian. I once said it to my cousins. I go like this. I go, we're obviously all Italian, but do you feel that Anthony is more Italian than ever? They're like, yeah, we do.
He goes by Tony now.
Yeah. Actually, I'm shocked he doesn't go by Tony. He doesn't go by Tony.
He just stopped going by. Goes by Tony.
My brother's very Italian.
Very Italian. But yeah, Thanksgiving, dude. I feel like, I mean, look, it's the best holiday because there's no exchange of gifts. So you don't have to come out of your pocket
no
with
work.
this bullshit.
Right.
It's a 4-day weekend, right? You get football. You get 3 football games now on Thursday, plus the full weekend after it. You get a meal. Granted, it's not the best meal you're ever going to have, but it's a fucking meal, right? And the sides, I think the sides are the star.
I would agree with that. The sides are the star.
Sides are, I mean, fucking the bird. I mean,
the supporting players emerge into all-stars on that day.
You're giving out the 6-man award to the stuffing.
I'm a fan of all the sides, and even the desserts. And I'm not a big dessert guy, but I love a good
desserts are pretty good.
Thanksgiving dessert.
Thanksgiving desserts. I'll tell you one thing though. One side that I think I do, I do throw some shade at, if you can do that to a side of food.
Controversial takes today.
Hot takes is fucking mashed potatoes. Unless you fucking kick them up to another level, you put a little grated cheese in there, something. It's just fucking paste, bro. It's like fucking mortar.
So
I'd rather have stuffing than mashed potatoes.
Before there was ever any nutritional consequences that you had to consider as a child, I would shove mashed potatoes down my face with reckless abandon.
Yeah, no, but you put bacon bits on them, you put butter on. You got to dress those fuckers up. If you just eat the mashed potato like that, with gravy, you got to do something extra to the potato.
I have no problem with mashed potatoes, but maybe I could understand this. Mashed potatoes overrated, but they're still good.
Yeah, I'll tell you what's underrated, dude. Fucking the string bean casserole.
I think it's rated. I think it's rated.
I like the onions. I like the crunchy onions on top. I'm with it.
I think it's rated. I don't think it's bad, but I'm like, it's not like what I'm longing for when I see the stuff coming up.
In the Italian culture, do they celebrate things? They must celebrate. They're Americans too. But do they throw in a pasta course as well with the turkey and shit?
It wouldn't be foreign to see some lasagna floating around, but we don't make spaghetti.
I could get down with a Thanksgiving lasagna. That sounds fucking tits to me.
It's good.
Fuck turkey. Thanksgiving lasagna for me.
We weren't spaghetti people on Thanksgiving. But you're missing out about Thanksgiving the night before Thanksgiving.
Oh, you go fuck a girl from high school.
Yes.
when she's after her first marriage ended poorly.
It's waned over the years, but oh my God, the first 10 years I was out of high school, it was like, woohoo. My hometown used to fucking aggressive night before Thanksgiving behavior.
I think it would be good. I think it'd be a slick move if you're like a single guy
and you go back to somebody else's hometown and try and,
Ooh.
you know, like you're the new, you're the new guy.
Yeah.
But they're all back, right? Like you go to like East Lansing, Michigan, just randomly, and so like, hey, what's a good Wednesday before Thanksgiving?
I feel like you need to go with somebody. You need to be
Have a
with
little
somebody
in?
from East Lansing, Michigan. That's why whenever I go to East Lansing, Michigan, I go with Magic Johnson.
But you don't have sex with any
I'm
of his
so
former.
glad you pulled East Lansing, Michigan out.
just
I was
pulled it
like,
out of my ass.
I was like, great, I got a guy.
Yeah. Well, you also don't want to have sex with his former partners because they might have the HIV.
Fair, okay, fair. What do you call it? But yeah, night before Thanksgiving was huge in Saugus. We used to go to Caruso's Diplomat, and Caruso's Diplomat, I don't know, there'd be
I can
600 people that would go to this
I can
thing.
only imagine the trash bag type of chicks that come back to Saugus,
Dude,
Mass.
my buddy
to have
Matt-
Thanksgiving dinner on Route 1 with their family.
My buddy Matt brought his now wife, then fiance, and she was just horrified at the Saugusness of the situation. She's like, oh my God, who are these people? And then I remember Caruso's Diplomat always used to rock. And then I think it was Willie McGinnis threw a party there. And
Willie McGinnis set foot in Saugus.
oh, please, Saugus rocks, dude. Route 1 is the shit.
I mean, look, yeah, there's a lot going on Route 1, but I wouldn't think a megastar and beloved fucking, New England sports hero would go to that shithole. I mean, why wouldn't he go, why wouldn't he party
Dude,
with the hot chicks downtown?
Because it's Saugus. But he wasn't there on Thanksgiving Eve.
I mean, look,
But
the Golden Banana's there, and that seems like a good place
He
for
threw a
Thanksgiving.
party, and I don't know what happened. I don't know if people got shot, but something happened, and they were like, all right, we can't have parties at Caruso's Diplomat anymore. I don't know if it was, I think it was Willie that did it, but not that he did it. Just it was on the
Yeah,
night that he
his
had
crew
the
was
party,
there.
and something
down.
something happened. I don't know what happened, but I remember like there was like a dividing line in like the 90s. They're like, okay, Caruso's Diplomat can no longer be hired for this, and but then
Fucked it up for everybody else.
But
Thanks,
everybody would
Willie.
always go to Kowloon, and I know you know Kowloon.
Oh, the Kowloon.
Oh my God, Kowloon. I always think this is funny. There used to be a Chinese food restaurant in Saugus called WWII's, and WWII's was the biggest Chinese food restaurant you would have ever seen in your
Bigger than
life.
Kowloon?
Until you drove a half mile up the road and Kowloon dwarfed it.
Because the Kowloon, for those that don't know, those who've never been to Boston, and even if you've been to Boston, Kowloon's like an institution known locally. First of all, it's like a comedy, it's like a historical comedy venue. Like, for whatever reason, this Chinese food place had great comedy shows since the fucking late 70s, early 80s. But it's what do you think? It's like a 6-story.
No, it's not that tall. It's only got a couple of floors, but it looks massive.
But there's a big property. Like it kind of looks like it's almost like a museum. I would say it's what 40,000 square feet. It's fucking enormous.
Yeah,
dude.
so like
and there's multiple floors, multiple dining rooms.
I did the math.
They
on
had
it
3
once.
showrooms in there.
Yeah,
plus a full dining room.
That place can hold almost. I think it can hold almost 2,000 people.
Could you imagine, dude? That's like a hockey game worth of Chinese food going out the door every night.
And I'm always blown away. I know it's a Chinese food place, but how quickly the food would come. It's like, it's laughable.
Because their menu, look, Boston Chinese food is very specific. Has its own,
I thought that's what Chinese food was everywhere.
Yeah, no, I mean, even, look, the Chinese takeout, like New York style, they have that everywhere. But Boston is like its own subsect of it. They have those chicken fingers with the sweet and sour sauce.
It's amazing.
The crab rangoon, which is just it's just deep fried dough and Philly cream cheese. I mean, like,
it's so good. It's so fucking good.
It's so good.
I love it. There's certain people that don't like it.
No, it's good.
I'm like,
but you do feel like shit.
Oh, you feel terrible about it. But for those like 7 minutes that's going in your face, it's like it's the best food you're gonna taste.
It's
for
fucking
those 7
fantastic.
minutes. You're just gonna feel like a piece of shit afterwards.
Yeah.
I'm going to accept that.
For sure. I feel like Chinese takeout might still be the best takeout there is. I think it's better than pizza because it has so much variety. But dude, I've gotten Chinese takeout in like Bragg, Wyoming. Like it's a small town, 600 people. Like a little Chinese food takeout spot. It tasted pretty similar to Chinese takeout everywhere. Like I don't know who's supplying these Chinese food takeout places, but I think there's like one giant Chinese food kingpin that is
supplies everything.
Yeah, because it just all the food tastes the same.
Did you ever go to Lee Chen's in South Boston?
Oh, I got a video in Lee Chen's.
The fist fight?
It was a woman fucking trashing a guy.
Yeah,
it's old. I should repost that. I've been to Lee Chen's because I used to live over there. I used to live in
South Boston.
Yeah, well, in the Seaport. So I'd ride my bike over to Lee Chen's.
Seaport.
I know. Well, it's the only building in the fucking place. But I would ride my bike over to Lee Chen's because it was open until 4 in the morning.
But that place used to crack me up because it was I a Chinese food / Mexican food place. Like, what a weird combination. And
Well, to be fair, all the food made in this country is mostly Mexican. Because Mexican people are the guys in the kitchen. Like 80% of kitchen workers are Mexican.
well, that's the thing that always blew my mind is that like you'd go there and there'd be like you get like a Chinese person serving you burritos or a Mexican guy coming out and giving you like pork fried rice, and I'm like, this just doesn't line up. I'm like, but it was delicious. I love that place.
There should be a Chinese food burrito, dude.
Ooh,
Where you take
that is an
where you
outstanding
take
idea.
the fried rice, you put it in there, and then you put the spare rib tips instead of the shredded pork.
I like that.
You can get
And
down with
there's
that.
gonna
Some
be
hot sauce, maybe some sweet
an
and sour
Asian
something.
burrito.
Asian burritos, dude.
Dude, this is
How is
like,
there not an Asian burrito?
yeah.
Go ahead and steal that idea because I'm not gonna fucking make a food truck. Somebody else do it.
I love that idea. I think that's fantastic.
You get a pizza burrito. Just put everything in a burrito.
Well, they kind of do that now. They
Really?
like
Hot
pizza,
Pockets?
like hot pockets, like pizza. Yeah,
Yeah.
pizza. It's a pizza.
But there is no
calzone.
there is no pork fried rice inside of a burrito.
Pork fried rice,
with some chicken and broccoli.
Yeah.
Pork fried rice rolled up into a burrito.
kung pao on top.
Yeah, see now these are good ideas. We're starting a business on the Radio Support
love
podcast.
this. That's great. I want to try this. I want to make it on my own just to taste it. Just like
You're gonna get a wok and start frying up some
Well,
rice.
I'm not going to do that kind of work, but I'll probably go to Chinese food and put it inside.
And just put it in a
burrito.
wrap.
Yeah.
I bet it would work, dude.
Although I bet you that the cheese won't blend well with Chinese food. You never see cheese in Chinese food. I guess
They don't really fuck. Yeah, what's up? Is there? Sorry, I'm looking over because Tyler's in the fucking background. Our buddy Tyler Nicholas. He goes to China all the time. Do they have like cheese in China? But like, what kind of cheese? Like, what's like a famous Chinese cheese? Goat cheese?
yeah, it doesn't count.
They don't. Okay, they don't. Yeah, because there is. I mean, obviously, the French and Italians got a lock on cheese.
Yeah.
The Swiss have have a hand in it. Mostly European, but yeah, there's not a lot of Asian cheeses.
Jesus.
Dude, that's probably why Jewish people go there on the holidays and shit because it's kosher. They don't have any
No.
cheese in their diet. You can't mix meat and cheese,
It is kind of weird. Like I know that Jewish people go to Chinese food places, but why would Chinese food places be open on?
because they don't give a fuck, dude. They believe in money. You know what I'm saying? Like,
You think that's it?
it's in some ways the Chinese are more American than Americans because they don't close for the holidays. They don't play that shit. The only holiday they fuck with is the New Year, and even their New Year is about getting money.
Yeah, and their New Year, I don't know when it is, but it's not on New Year's.
Yeah, it's like in February.
They're wrong.
They follow the Jewish calendar.
Kowloon packed on Christmas. I've done Kowloon
Oh, I
Christmas a
bet.
few times.
I bet, dude. I go to Korea. So me and my brother every year on Christmas, we do like our family does Christmas Eve. That's when we do all our stuff. Christmas Day we don't do shit. We loaf around, hang out. So Christmas Day we'll go down to the Comedy Cellar because they always have. There's always 8 Jewish comics who are willing to work on Christmas night. And it's easy to get tickets because most people aren't going that night. So we'll go down there, go to a show, and then we'll go to Korean barbecue because they're open 24/7, 365 in New York City.
I remember I went to Nick's Comedy Stop on Christmas one year because Gelman was doing a Christmas album, and he did it on Christmas Day because he's Jewish. And the best name for a special, they were all like Christmas jokes. He said, "All I want for Hanukkah is Christmas." He's a beast.
Oh, he's such a beast. And that is a good point. I will say, like, amongst religions, I would imagine you poll most Jewish people, they think Christmas is better than Hanukkah.
I think it's a lot more fun.
I mean, it's certainly very commercial in the sense that the way Western culture has embedded Christmas into our consumer lifestyle. It's like perfect for it. It's like, hey, here's a reason to buy a bunch of shit you don't need.
Right.
And if you don't buy shit for other people, you're an asshole.
You feel like a piece of
so it just forces everyone to go buy trinkets that are going to end up in the ocean.
Do you buy gifts anymore for people?
No, I give money to my sister. She buys gifts for everyone in my family, wraps them up, and hands them out. So every year I sit there like, oh, I wonder what I got you this year. Like, to my mom, my niece.
We got
whatever.
to a point like when I was an adult, my family was just like, yeah, we're not doing gifts anymore. Like,
Well,
it's just a lot
amongst ourselves, we like my mom will give me something, and I'll get her something. But like me and my brothers and sisters don't do that. Don't give exchange gifts. And I've been saying this till I was blue in the face. I mean, we were poor as shit, man, and we still do big on Christmas. I'm like, why? We don't need any of this shit.
Right.
We broke, all of us. Can we stop? Like this is that's why I like Thanksgiving. It's a fucking meal. You sit
it's
down, watch
just done with
football,
it.
you ignore each other, and then you go home.
How about this?
You know, that's a perfect family gathering.
How about this?
You know, you eat in silence and leave.
Do you notice this decline over time? When I was a kid, you'd open up Christmas presents in the morning, and then wherever you went for that day, or if people came over your house, you got dressed up.
Oh, yeah.
And like,
there was always, and there was a special outfit too. Like this, my mom would give me the Christmas outfit,
Yeah.
the Easter outfit.
And now it's like, I feel like you can just show up to people's house and you could literally be wearing like pajamas, and it's like, it's Christmas, and I'm like, yeah, but we all look like pieces of shit.
Yeah, well, that's another pet peeve. I got a lot of problems with the holidays, people.
You're like Frank Costanza.
Yeah, it's fucking.
I got a lot of problems with you.
People, the airing grievances. No, the fucking, that whole thing. Everyone like, oh, let's put on our matching pajamas and take this Christmas photo. It's our family tradition. It's like every fucking family in America is doing that now. It can no longer be a fucking tradition of your family.
Well,
every jerk off on Instagram is doing it.
But every family does do, not every family, but I mean, like, it's not unique anymore.
Yeah, it's not. And the matching pajamas is particularly egregious.
I've never liked pajamas, even when I was a kid. Like, I remember when I was like 5 or 6, my mother would put me in pajamas. I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, I just never.
Somewhere around, I feel like somewhere around like 2002 or 3, people started wearing pajamas outside. Like, that was cool. And now you see them at the airport all the time.
Yeah, that's fucking weird.
It's like, bro, you're in public. Can you dress like you're going somewhere? Because you are.
I feel like jeans, or maybe if like the weather permits, shorts are acceptable. But like, I don't know. Like, I'm not looking.
Dude, they have a whole line of clothing perfect for it. Athleisure. Get a fucking pair of Lululemons, guy or girl. You can show your nuts.
Guys have Lululemons now.
They have male, but they don't have them like the girls' leggings. Although I'm sure they might, like running leggings. But like they have, like fucking these are technically athleisure because these are hiking pants. Like, but they're fucking just gray stretch pants.
Those are fine to wear on a plane.
Yeah, that's
like
what I'm saying.
I do feel that airport grossness when I see people that are like in pajamas. I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, carrying a pillow with their fucking brown,
pillow.
with their brown drool stains on it. They poured our RC Cola all over the fucking thing.
I was talking with Tyler. How much do we just dread going to the airport now? It's fucking bananas.
Well, because they made it so low class. I mean, like once it became affordable, it became shitty. You know what I'm saying? And now you got Spirit Airlines, which got bought out by JetBlue. Unfortunately, it's probably gonna take the class of that down. But like, dude, I was on a Spirit Airlines flight recently. It was basically in a fucking folding chair. I was like, well, they might as well pull these out and make it standing room only. And just we'll hold on to a strap like it's a fucking bus. I don't put because that's what it feels like at this point.
It does have that mentality. I don't put this on Spirit, but I was like, if it had to happen on any particular airline, I would have guessed it was Spirit. I went to go use the bathroom, and there was 2 of them, and the flight attendant was and I'm like, what? Like, you're not allowed to use that one. I'm like, what, why? And they're like, somebody shit on the floor. And I was like, okay. I'm like, but I'm like, that's not Spirit Airlines.
Shit on the floor.
Yeah, and I was like,
that's pretty funny. They made it all the way to the bathroom and just had to take a dump on the floor and it's so small. Like it's actually probably harder to shit on the floor than into the toilet.
They said that
because there's so little floor as opposed to the size of the toilet in there.
I think that somebody missed.
How do you miss?
Well, I think it was
they sat backwards on the toilet.
I didn't see the log. I just was told about it. They wouldn't let me open the door, but they go, it's just trust me, don't open it. And I was like, okay, that's all I need to hear. But I think it was probably just an explosion situation. Can't say explosion about shitting on a plane.
Yeah, explosive diarrhea.
Yeah.
Can you even mention the word explosion on a plane?
I know, it's fucking weird.
Definitely can't say bomb.
Can you really not say bomb on an airplane? I don't know.
I've said it because I'm talking about how I bombed the night before. Frequently. Dude, I wonder if they can like expel all the waste in an airplane bathroom while they're in flight. How great would that be as a goof if like,
well, that's what
pilot's like, watch this, just like over Cleveland, he just dumps the tanks all over the fucking place.
That was part of not David Spade, part of Joe Dirt. They fucking dropped
that movie. Underrated. I feel like that movie underrated.
It's a great movie. I haven't seen it in a long time. I wouldn't mind watching that again.
Fuck yeah, dude.
How hot was that blonde? Who's it? Jamie Presley?
I mean, and I was at the right age for that. I was 12, 13 when that movie came rolling around.
I was 34, 35 when that came out.
No, you weren't.
I'm joking.
You're not that old, Donnie. You're a good-looking young man.
I know.
Keep talking.
Yeah, no, she was hot. Like Jamie Presley in the 90s or early 2000s.
Yeah, some of those women age well, some not so well. I feel like Tara Reid's all over the place.
Tara Reid was a big deal for like a year. She had like 1 year where she was going out with Tom Brady at one point.
Really?
Yeah.
There's a big question. I mean, look, Tom. All right, here's the big news.
Do we
right?
think that Tyreek's going to get back with Tom Brady now that Gisele
Obviously
clinched him?
not. Yeah, he's got way better pull than that.
I know.
I think. I mean, Tom Brady 2-0 since the divorce.
I've seen the pictures. I think it's hilarious. 2-0 since he became single.
Yeah, dude. You know he didn't have a 3-game losing streak since 2002 until this year. He went 20 fucking years in the NFL without losing 3 games in a row.
Crazy. Jordan has like basically the same streak. It was like, it was like 8 years, which in the NBA is absurd.
Yeah, when you're playing 82 games a year.
Right. Yeah, I can remember the last 3-game losing streak they had. I was living in Somerville. I can specifically remember it.
Oh
Because,
my god.
Yeah, they
Do
won.
are you a bigger Pats fan than a Celtics fan? Would you say? What are you big?
It's really hard to judge because growing up, I was so diehard Celtics. It was bananas. But I mean, you know, you grow up in this 20-year winning streak that they have, 6 championships. It was hard not to be like, I'm fully invested in this more than that. But I mean, the Celtics hit me at the right time in my life.
Yeah.
You know, like when you're a kid.
Yeah, when you're at that age.
It's just
you're 10 and everything is sports. What would you say Tom Brady's the biggest, like the most beloved Boston professional athlete now?
Not even close.
Do you think I always ask, like, you know, David Ortiz, because he's pretty fucking high up there.
He is. So I always say this, 10% of Boston or 5% of Boston doesn't even like Tom Brady.
Really? What's not to like?
They're like, fuck him, his avocado
He brought
toast.
them 5 fucking
Yeah, I know. That shows the unreasonableness of Boston people. As I'm like, 5 to 10% of Boston doesn't like Tom Brady. And I'm like, how much more does a human being have to do? I'm like, that shows how insufferable the people of Boston can be. I'm like,
for sure.
That's why I always say, like, I go, whenever I hear like Boston's racist, I'm like, we're not racist. We're assholes.
Oh, that's unquestionable.
And I'm like, yeah, you might have had a bad experience in Boston, but I'm like, 1 out of 10 people in Boston doesn't like Tom Brady. I'm like,
yeah,
it's an impossible situation.
These are angry,
unreasonable people.
Yeah, unreasonable people.
Yeah, and I'm one of them. I'm like.
But you are not a racist.
And I am not against Tom
And when
Brady.
you have to say, and there's nothing that sounds more racist than saying I'm not a racist.
But here's the thing. I'm like, they'll be like, oh, they'd have a problem with him dating somebody like Gisele Bundchen. Oh, he's going to go for the big celebrity. And it's like, yeah, what does that affect your life? You know what I mean?
Oh, they have a beef with that he's dating a hot chick?
Or like,
they want him to date some fucking slam from Route 1? Like,
yes, that's what we want. And then...
some South Shore piece of trash.
And then, like, they'd be like, oh, him and his stupid fucking diet. And they'd have a problem with that. Or
he kissed his son.
Yeah.
He loves his son.
Yes.
What a homo. It's like, what?
Yes. It's like,
look, he has a great relationship with his 10-year-old son. Jerk off.
If you ever listen to Boston sports radio, you will listen to the most insane people ever.
Those people, anyone who calls into Boston Talk Radio should be lobotomized.
Lunatics.
They should immediately lose their right to vote. These are crazy people.
They are crazy people. And I'm like, shame on me. I would listen to these crazy people for 5 or 6 hours.
Oh, no, it's funny. Because they'll be like, I don't want a Monday morning quarterback it, but, and then we'll just go on a tear of what they would have done if they were Bill Belichick.
57 steps deep into their plan.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and anyways, to my point, 5 to 10% of Boston people had a problem with Tom Brady. So he's not the most beloved. Larry Bird was very beloved. Like, I never hear negative talk about Larry Bird.
I feel like David Ortiz is up there.
David Ortiz, I felt, was completely equal with Tom Brady until Brady went on that
Definitely the most popular black athlete they've ever had.
In Boston, yeah, you're probably right. I feel like he was on equal footing with Brady until Brady won the second batch of Super Bowls. And then
second batch?
Yeah, think about it.
The next 3.
The next 3. And then I was like, I'm back. Because I certainly ranked them dead heat. And I was like, there was at one point, I'm like, I think Ortiz might be passing Brady. And then Brady was like, I can't have this. I got to get Don's respect. So he went out and he got another.
Don Zollo.
He got another 3 championships. And I was like, all right, Tom.
All right, so you give him a pat on the back. An attaboy. There you go.
So how about this? If you want to go Boston sports, I've tried to like put my Mount Rushmore together of Boston sports people. Okay. And I've said this, I'm like, David Ortiz is more important to the Red Sox, but Ted Williams is more important to baseball. Like Ted Williams batted 400.
Yeah, they never would have won championships without David Ortiz.
But they never.
But Ted Williams wasn't shit. Yeah, but he was a great player. But that team wasn't shit.
He never won a championship. Ortiz won what, 3? Like, and not to mention I stand by this. He's the most clutch hitter I've ever seen.
Oh yeah, he delivered. Yeah.
Like dude,
he's kind of like Eli Manning in that way. Like he could disappear for huge chunks of the regular season, but in the postseason, he's a problem.
You know, I'm not even going to say disappeared for the regular season, but it would be like, oh, he's just his all-star self. But then in like the postseason, it was like this. It was off the charts how good he was.
Every big hit that was needed, he hit it.
Yeah,
he's like the Robert Ory, of batting.
But as like an MVP type player as well. I was there when he hit the grand slam against the Tigers, and I remember it was like the 8th inning, and they were down 5-0. And I was doing the math. I was like, well, if they can get to Ortiz, I'm like, the bases would be loaded, or that at least he'd be representing the tying run. And he gets up with the bases loaded in the 8th inning, and I'm like, if the Red Sox lose this game, they probably lose the American League Championship Series. And I'm like, just get us to Ortiz. That's all we need. And they get to Ortiz, and I remember thinking, this is going to be a classic battle, a back and forth, 8-pitch at bat. First pitch. Yeah. And I was just like,
that was a short at bat. I don't remember there being much to it.
It wasn't. It was nothing to it. I was like, but it was, dude. It was. That guy is so clutch. It's just he reminds me of myself, and I'm just like, it's exciting to watch him.
It's exciting. It's just like exciting to watch yourself.
Yeah. So
Don jerks off into a mirror. That's his porn. He just looks at himself.
David Ortiz came to one of my shows once, and
no shit, dude. Did he laugh?
So here, I'll tell you this one.
He seemed like a gregarious guy.
I was just about to go on stage, and then
he got up and left.
And Josh Wolf was on the show, and I heard him say to like, I don't know, the manager or something. He goes, "Hey, Big Poppy's coming in a second," and I was like, "Excuse me, what?" Yeah. And he's like, "Oh, I go, Big Poppy's coming in this." He goes, "Yeah." He goes, he texted me. He'll be here like any second. He goes, "When you're on stage, he's coming out." And I remember thinking to myself, I'm like, "Oh, Poppy's going to be in the audience." And then, did you ever see that Seinfeld when he's going to do the show, and right before he gets on stage, his agent is like, "Just so you know, the pilot is going to be in the audience."
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, "What? The pilot from the plane today? He's going to be in the audience." And then like he's giving his, act, and he's on stage, and then he sees the pilot, and he just can't get the pilot out of his. That's exactly what happened. I remember I was on stage, and I'd be like telling jokes over here, and I'd be like,
"What is he looking at Big Pot? Where is he?
What does he think?"
I wonder, did the crowd fucking like seem committed?
The crowd didn't,
and like fuck Don Zollo, look at Big Pot.
No, the crowd reacted like there was no reaction. Like I wonder if they noticed, because it was like they didn't sit him up front, but I'm like, it's dark in there, and if you just come in and you get sat and you're off to the side, you could possibly go unnoticed, especially the first few minutes.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But I just remember the whole time I was like, what does he think?
I almost wish like comedy clubs would by rule not sit attractive people in the front row. I was talking about this recently with somebody. Like you see a couple hot chicks or a famous person. It's like it's distracting. Like I just put normal uglies in front,
excuse
please.
Me,
regulars. Yeah. Anything from a 4 to a 7 in the front row.
You can sit in the front.
8 and above, you're in the fucking back. I don't want to see your face.
I can remember specific, exceptionally attractive people that I've sat in my front row, because I was like, this normally isn't my thing, but I'd fuck this guy. I'd be watching. There are like a couple that have like over the years, I'm like, holy shit, I didn't know they made humans that good looking.
Yeah,
it is.
It's a little off.
But it's rare that you see somebody that good looking.
Yeah. But I mean, 3-4 slutty girls will take you off your.
Oh, yeah. 3 or 4 slutty girls is why I'm still doing comedy.
You're working on number 1.
That's legit. I always think about this. So I started stand-up comedy, and the first 10 times I went on stage, I did 5-minute spots at the Green Dragon and at Sally O'Brien's. Sally O'Brien's is perhaps the worst, or at least it was, the worst environment for comedy ever.
I used to go out there. That was Somerville, right? Yeah.
And Green Dragon can certainly be a train wreck. But
right.
I also
Sally O'Brien's was Tuesdays and the Dragon was Mondays, if I remember correctly.
Mine was both Mondays, but I did stand-up comedy 10 times, 5 minutes at a whack at those 2 places. Not one laugh. Not one. Jeez. And I was just like, oh, I got to take a break. This is awful. Like, it just hurt my feelings so bad. Yeah. And I took like a year off, and I came back. That's
It
how.
hurt you that bad?
That's
it wasn't
how.
like a week. I was like, so I took a year off.
No, it was like that's how painful.
I went
it
into
was.
therapy. I worked out some stuff. Then I came back.
Well, think about if you're on stage for 50 minutes, like cumulative.
Dude, I bombed my first year every fucking minute of it.
It's
horrible.
Yeah,
horrible.
I always tell people if you have what it takes to get past that first year, you have what it takes to at least do it.
Yeah.
You know, who knows what you're going to get out of it, but I'm like, you have the ability to at least do it. But I'm like, so I did it for 15 minutes. I got 0, and I was like, this is just too much. I came back a year later. I went to the Green Dragon. I remember this. I was like, there was 3 hot chicks sitting in the equivalent,
Which
of
is
the
crazy
front row.
because the Dragon on a Monday is not
Right.
known for having a ton of hot chicks.
And I was
so it's
like-
already like, what the fuck's going on here?
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is my first night back. And I remember thinking, I'm like, man, I don't want to bomb, but I really don't want to bomb in front of the 3 hot chicks. And I went out and I did 5 minutes, and everybody in the place laughed at every joke I did. And I was like,
What's going on here?
What the fuck just happened?
Somebody, did my mom plant them in the audience?
right.
What's going on?
I was like, this is crazy. So I sat down at the bar and I was just enjoying it. And then the bartender came over and he put a drink in front of me and he goes, those 3 young ladies over there wanted me to give you this. And I picked up the drink and I can remember this. I looked, I was like, well, I guess I'm going to do this for the rest of my life.
Nice.
And I was like, so I'm like,
Did you end up
somewhere,
hooking up with any of those broads?
I went over and I had drinks with them, but I didn't end up going home with them or anything like that. But I
You got
remember
a free drink out of it. And that's hard to, I can count on one hand how many times a chick bought me a fucking drink.
outside of, you know what's crazy is
You know, a girl that I wasn't like in a relationship
Yeah.
with. I'm dating a girl, she'll pick up the tab.
I'm going to say this. I've had chicks offer to buy me drinks plenty of times in comedy clubs, but most of the time I'm being given those drinks for free. So I'm like, don't worry about it. Thank you. But out in society, less than
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
After a comedy show, like, yeah, women have bought me drinks, men have bought me drinks. Fucking the bartender will buy you around. She's a hot bartender, a woman, she'll give you a round. But just like in real life,
In society,
not in comedy life.
In
yeah.
society, it's like,
it's one hand.
to get a woman to reach into her pocket and be like, here, I would like to flush these honors upon you. No, that doesn't happen.
Flush these honors upon you.
Flush these honors upon you. What
like
a weird
that.
fucking sentence that was.
So before we get in the news, I do have to address it. I think you might be the first openly Republican guest I've had on the show. I've had some closet Republicans.
Well, I am now.
But openly Republican. And I'm going to start saying it like that because I got a lot of closeted conservative friends out there. You need to come
I'm
out.
coming out of my conservative closet.
No, but tonight's the night, dude. Old Donnie Dog is getting
Yeah.
back in tonight.
I'm,
Are you, as a because you register Republican, right?
Yes, I had to think about that.
Yeah, 'cause I'm not registered.
Actually, you want to know what?
Because I'm not registered. I'm unaffiliated.
I think I'm independent because
Yeah.
I've never gone through the trouble of being like, I'm a Republican.
I was going to say, I don't think you've ever voted in a primary. Only a fucking animal would vote. A real loser votes in the primary.
I think I'm just registered independent still.
Yeah, but he's coming back in. What do you think, dude? What do you think his chances are?
Trump?
Yeah.
I really don't know. I really don't. I'm like, it's just bizarre. I'm like,
I mean, I've been talking to you about it for months. I've been pounding my chest. Ron DeSantis is the guy. He's not a loser like Donald Trump.
he is the guy, but I'm like, I also see that like I could see him beating DeSantis, and then
Oh,
I'm
no,
like,
I think Trump could beat DeSantis, but I think DeSantis would do better in a general election.
in a general election, I probably agree with you, but in a primary, I don't know that he gets there. And then I also say, if you were to put them together, I think that
Donald Trump he won't stand for that. He needs to have a fucking lackey, you know?
I think he would suffer it out because it would only be 4 years.
You know, actually, if you pick DeSantis, it might be the only time that the president switched out his vice president in the middle.
The president,
Because you know, like he went through his whole cabinet last time, four times
yeah.
over. It might be the only time the president like switches up a vice president in the middle of his fucking, in the middle of his run. How does that even work? Can you like just?
I don't know.
Can you fire the vice president?
Can
Say,
you
I want
fire a vice
want somebody
president?
else? Who the fuck knows? I mean, we don't even know if the president could pardon himself. There's so much about government that is just based on like, oh, well, that's the norm. It's not like it's not like law, you know? Like,
That's the norm. You're right.
yeah, it's like there's no laws. Like, well, there should be a law around this kind of stuff.
I don't know, but let's just pontificate on it without having any facts.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if he'll be president again. It's up in the air. You know, it's.
I don't know. I've told people, man, I think, look, I'm not a conservative at all. You know that. But Ron DeSantis is like a normal guy.
Well,
you know, like he seems like, from what I've heard, he's incredibly intelligent too. And he seems like, he seems like you can work with him.
I agree with everything that you say. My only problem is I know how the media goes, and they're just going to turn him into Trump 2.0, and he'll be like 1 month into campaigning for presidency, and they'll be like, he's even worse than Trump.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, Yeah, no, that's another. I got into it today on Facebook. Can you believe it?
I know, right? Don's famous for actually getting into Facebook wars. He won't let up, which I love. Like most people are like, I couldn't be bothered. Don is bothered. Yeah. Don will spend time in crafting an argument on Facebook.
I always think of myself as like that genius chess player that gets
Svengali.
dropped in Central Park. And they're like, he's playing chess against 14 people. And I'm just like, the gender pay gap is bullshit.
Running around.
Trump 2024. Jordan's better than LeBron. You're stupid. Your wife's ugly. I'm like, I got 9 of them going at once. And I'm gonna find myself certain times. I'm like, I think I'm arguing both sides. I'm arguing over here.
I'm arguing with myself.
I'm like, the gender pay gap is bullshit. The gender pay gap is real. I just want to win.
Yeah, whatever the argument is, you take the opposite of whatever someone's saying, just to have the argument.
Yeah. Actually, I'm a lot better. You're going on classic, Don. I have gotten a lot better about. I actually responded. I'm not going to mention the person's name. I actually responded, but I feel was quite mature today. I had somebody who was like, I'll say, trolling me, and I'm like, dude, I'm just posting about X, Y, and Z, and you're coming in here rattling the cage over bullshit. I'm like, this has nothing to do with what you're saying, and I'm like. You know, a lot of people bust my balls about being friends with you. And they say, why are you friends with this person? I'm like, because you're actually a good human being in real life. Yeah. I just find you online.
There is a lot of that, man. It's a lot of online interaction is just stirring the pot just to get a rise out of somebody. Shit happens to me all the time. So, people comment on my jokes. Like, that was dumb. I'm like, what was dumb about it? Oh, I'm just kidding, breaking your balls. I just want to see if you respond. Like, yeah. I'm a person.
Rest assured, if I respond, I'm usually responding because there's a reason to respond. But somebody was asking about this. They're like, dude, your posts stir the most shit. They're like, are you trying to stir? I'm like, no, I'm not stirring the pot. I'm like legitimately just saying,
what my opinion on this matter?
I think this, thing is true, and I'll put this out. And then it's like, get them. I remember the biggest one I think I ever had was I saw a meme. And it just showed, I think it was like showing like a young boy with his hand being held by his mother like this. And it just showed the back and it said, we're feminizing our little boys and it's doing nobody any favors. And I saw it and I was like, yes, that's true. Share. It was like,
I'm sure, in Boston, that's going to.
It was like midnight. And I got 2 or 3 comments before I went to bed. I was like, that's fucking weird. These people are really fired up about that. Oh, well. Put the phone down. I go to sleep. I had to shoot a video at like 10 o'clock. And I wake up at like 9, and my buddy who was going to be shooting the video said, hey, can we push it back to 10:30? And I said, yeah. And he goes, by the way, holy shit. And I was like,
what's going on?
What do you mean? ? And I send it back. He goes, you haven't opened up Facebook yet? And I go, no. And he goes, dude, go look. I opened it up, 678 comments.
What?
I was like,
you have that many Facebook followers? Or just went that?
That's the point. This was midnight in Boston when I posted this, and I wake up at 9, and I'm like,
so somewhere on it took off somewhere else.
Like 670. I'm like, what? Like, and I'm scrolling through, and it's like, you piece of shit, and I'm like, oh my god, like it was like. I was
also you just it's not even like you made the post, you shared.
I just shared it. Yeah. And I was like, and they were all like, I was like, oh my God. Like it blew my mind. I was like, 600 and some odd comments. I was just like, this is bananas.
Well, the willingness of people to argue is also crazy because it's like, if you don't like it, just unfollow Don. Like they'll go to war with you in the comments. It's like, bro, you could just move, or you could just stop following me so you don't have to see this shit anymore.
Here's my viewpoint.
You can live in your own bubble. That's what social media is about. Building your own fucking bubble.
Here's my point. Here's what I think it is. We lack such real connection in the real world that you will fight with somebody online because it's interaction, it's engagement.
Yeah.
So like,
it's a human interaction.
Even if it's a shitty argument, it's like, at least I'm talking, at least I'm engaged with this person and they feel like connected.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's my take on it.
There is a lot of that. Like, it's just, and it also makes people say shit they would never say in person.
Oh, dude.
100%. Like, people will come out of their face online, but like, you would never say that to someone's face.
I used to do this joke online, this joke on stage. I got into it so bad with this guy at a gas station a few years ago. Like, it was bad.
Great place to argue, the gas station.
I got into it with the guy in the gas station vestibule, and we're going back and forth, and I forget what I said to him. Like, and I'm in his face, and all of a sudden he opened the door, and I just remember, I go, I got to be honest, I didn't know that was allowed. Like, I was like, oh, there's consequences to this? I'm like, I kind of, like, for a second, I forgot about it. I used to go, I thought that that bulletproof glass was like the internet. I can say whatever I want to you, and you're just going to sit there and take it. He opened up the door, and and then both of us were in a situation where it was like, are we going to fist fight one another? And I'm like, I can't get in a fight.
Too old for that.
Yeah. I'm like, it's so.
Too grown.
But this is how much this guy rattled my cage. I was fuming when I got home. I'm just walking around and I was, what can I do? And I picked up my phone and I went to Yelp and I caught myself as I typed in Yelp because I'm like, to me, Yelp is the battle cry of losers. And I was just like, I go, he's got me going to Yelp. And
reviewing a gas station on Yelp.
Station. And that's what made me realize, dude. I looked at it and I go, the last review was 8 years ago. I'm like, oh, it's a fucking gas station, you loser.
How many stars did it have?
Right. And I'm like, dude, he got me so fired up. I was like, I was going to bash a gas station on Yelp.
Don't buy gas here. The guy's an asshole.
But you want to know what's funny? I got my hair cut. Best relationship I have in my life is my hairdresser. We never fight. 25 years I've been getting my hair cut by this human. We just never argue. This just happened like the week before, and I was telling her about it. She goes, "Oh, my husband got in a fight with him too," and I'm like, "Oh, so it's not just me."
So like, her husband wrote a third bad review.
Yeah, but we both had the same. We both had the same strategy. We're like, "Fuck him! I'm not going to give him my business." And he goes, "Yeah, my husband folded after like 3 months." I'm like, "I folded after like 4." I'm like, well, because he doesn't notice, and I'm driving all over the place to go get gas.
Gas is cheap there, dude.
Yeah.
Which reminds me, like, they have those 3 types of gas. Who the fuck's buying like the high-end type of gas now?
Who has ever bought the high-end gas ever?
Who fell for it? Like, what is it supposed to actually do for the car? Is it like jet fuel? Like, is it better?
I don't know. I've heard if you have a nice car, it's better. But then, like, how do they even know
you know what that is? That's a rich tax. That they convince some rich asshole to pay an extra $1 a gallon in gas because it's better for your car. Oh, yeah.
So
meanwhile, his wife drives over a curb with the fucking thing every
what's
week.
My car going to last? 20 years instead of 18? Like I'm ever going to see that?
Yeah. Right.
Like I'm going to have that car 18 years from now?
Yeah, like it's going to matter.
Yeah. It's bullshit.
Man. All right, before we get out of here, let's get into some news, buddy. I have some good ones this week. A woman caught at the airport carrying her boyfriend's ashes inside a sex toy. Listen to this, buddy. Sarah Button, 23, was about to board a flight for the United Arab Emirates while wearing a butt plug in her late lover's quote-unquote favorite place where ashes were inside the butt plug. His ashes, his remains. They took me aside without much explanation, she said. Security searched her, and they did an extra search, and the intention was initially a joke to do this because he spent so much time in there, and it was his favorite place. Honestly, it's the funniest thing he's ever done. I'll spend my whole life laughing about it, which really beats crying. So, as a gag, he wanted his ashes put into a butt plug, and she wore them going through airport security.
The airport security is the really weird part about this.
Yes.
Like you need to have a butt plug in as you go through.
Well, they're going to find it.
Right. Like it's just been...
They specifically look for drugs in your ass. And this woman has a butt plug with her boyfriend's ashes. Probably looks like cocaine just stuffed up there.
Yeah, that's bizarre. You can do that on the plane if you wanted to. You could put it in and then. But I'm like, that is really weird.
Yeah. There's a good question, Don. When you die, how do you want? What's your what are your dying wishes? Like, how do you want to be handled?
So here's my thing: the idea of being put in a box and into the ground, gross. Don't want that. Sounds disgusting. The idea of having your body burned, I'm not a fan of that. I've always thought that I'd like somebody to bring me to a taxidermist, and I couldn't think of the word. And then if we still have the access to it, I'd like you to put me into my college basketball uniform, and I'll just be like a fucking a giant starting lineup, like
just like a giant statue. Dude, I actually think that's great. I want to be put in a butt plug, but I want to be put in like many butt plugs. You know, like I feel like depends on the size of the butt plug, but I guess you could put a little bit of ashes. Like I want there to be a line of butt plugs with my ashes in it that sell after I'm gone. Like a collector's item, like 1 of 100.
I actually 1 out of 100. Tonight we're gonna give the first 100 people at Joker's Randy's butt plug ashes.
That'd be good merch. Butt plugs.
I'm selling butt plugs with my deceased loved ones in them. I actually think that's a fairly exciting new take on it. I think
think
I
it's
applaud
great.
the idea.
It's also great that he did it. Obviously,
I do think it's wrong.
Yeah.
She did it at security.
Well, I think he did it clearly as a joke, right? He's like, oh, he did it.
Which, by the way, she's 23. How old was this guy? That's
Yeah, and what did he die of?
Right.
She might have killed him.
Oh, God.
Oh man, Ash is up a butt plug. Ash is in a. She's all right looking. Yeah, what did he die of? Let's see.
Can I see her?
Yeah, you get a look at her. She's a little bit of a punk rock
Okay.
chick. But she ain't bad. She's 23, which is nice. It doesn't say how he died here. Huh.
And to have the foresight at that age to have something lined up for your remains.
Well, nicely it says on the butt plug too, forever.
Also, how long were they going out? She's only 23.
I know. It's a sad story. Love lost.
It's funny that she says it was his favorite place.
Yeah, I mean, now it's in some other guy's favorite place. Listen to this, dude. Man gets jump rope stuck in his bladder after shoving it into his penis. Wow. A 79-year-old Japanese man managed to get a 90-inch jump rope stuck in his bladder after allegedly shoving the rope into his penis. Doctors wrote in a September study published in the urology case reports that the unidentified man inserted the rope through his urethra. However, the handleless rope became tangled and stuck in the man's bladder. He was forced to seek medical help, complaining of pain. No shit. Medics unraveled the medical mystery by investigating his bladder, where they found a large object accompanied by acoustic shadows.
Acoustic shadows.
Yeah, so I guess they had to do surgery to remove it.
You know what's funny is that's how they double dutch in Japan. That the rope actually connects to another Japanese stick, and they just
They helicopter.
yeah.
Like, how do you get a rope? I mean, the whole how big is this guy's urethra?
Yeah.
Because a jump, I mean, even if you have one of those like wire ones, it's still pretty fucking big. Bigger than one of those tubes that you have to get for a catheter.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. Like, why would you do it? Like, just in general. Like, there's no.
Maybe he was turned on by it. I don't know, dude. I read a story last week in the news about a woman who had an orgasm during labor. She said it gave her the most intense orgasm of her life when she was having her daughter.
Really?
And I was like, that's pedophilia in some ways.
Yeah.
You know, like if you're coming from your kid.
Involuntary pedophilia.
Yeah.
You had no control over it. That's weird. I never heard of
What is the human drive to shove things up things?
shove things up things.
You know, what is that? I get why you want to shove something in a woman because I'm a guy. But why would you want to have something shoved into your penis?
I've never remotely, like, not one bit had like any inkling to do that.
Did you ever get the old school STD test where they put the cotton swab in the head of your cock?
No.
No? Well, now you don't have to. They have fucking ways to do it without.
I thought that was just for certain things.
You know, I don't know.
That's what I think it is.
I didn't get a call back, so I guess I'm all right.
I
figured if there was something wrong, they'd follow up, but there was no follow up.
had a friend that I think told me that they
good.
had to give him a shot in it once, and I'm like, ugh.
Oh, we have a buddy who got circumcised when he was 13. Can you imagine that? Because that's also like boner central, right? So you can't you don't want the stitches to pop.
Oh God.
So yes.
Was it a religious thing?
No, he got like an infection. Yeah.
Oh.
Which is funny because you always hear that, but it never happens. Like
I've never heard of it.
it's one of those things like, oh, you should get a circumcision. You should have your young child circumcised because get infected. It's like cutting your arm off in case you get gangrene later. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like
that arm won't get gangrene.
Yeah, if it was, if you weren't supposed to have it, you wouldn't have been born with it. You know,
Right.
It doesn't seem like a
I also
thing.
think that like there's no way of me ever proving this, but like there is trauma that goes along with that. Like when you're a kid, I mean, think about it. They are literally chopping a piece of your body off.
It must hurt like fucking.
It must
hell,
hurt like fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you might not understand what's going on, but you can know that, hey, I was just sitting here, everything was going good, and then like, I mean,
Well, their argument too is like, oh, because it's a baby. So if you do it, when they're 10 days old, they don't form a long-term memory till they're 3. It's like that doesn't mean you should still hurt it just because they won't remember it.
Yeah,
like it's like by that measure, then you should be able to abort a baby up till 3 years old. Yeah, they won't remember it. Like it's
right.
the same logic. It's the same broken logic.
Yeah, I'm not on board with that. Yeah.
I actually watched a documentary on it. It's super interesting called American Circumcision. It was on
Live
Netflix.
and uncut.
Live and uncut. The director's cut.
The director's cut.
All right, what else do I got here in terms of news stories? Oh, I don't even. We don't even have to. I don't even read the story about it, dude. World War III's might about to kick off. You hear? A couple missiles hit Poland. This might be all. This might be all over, Donnie.
You know what? I did see that headline. I didn't understand what the consequences of it were. I'm still a little.
Yeah, I didn't. All I saw was the headline, but apparently a couple missiles strayed that were, I guess, meant for the Ukraine. They strayed and hit targets in Poland and killed 2 people.
I'm just saying, none of this stuff happened when Trump was in office. So,
that's another thing. They love like laying that at the feet of whoever's in office. Like, oh, you know, this didn't happen when he was here. This did happen when he was here. It's like things happen.
Things happen.
The earthquake didn't happen when Biden was in office. Like, well, an earthquake's completely unpredictable. What the fuck did that have to do with anything?
I don't know what to think about this. I really don't. And you know what? Here, I don't know what to think about Ukraine. People like to think that they have all the answers. I'm not educated on this. I don't have really an opinion, but there seems to be a lot of people that know everything about it.
Yeah, that's one of the funniest things about like the public discourse now. It's because everyone has a microphone. They all think their opinion is important and valid. It's like, no, it's not. Saying I don't know is perfect. People are afraid to say I don't know. Yeah. They're just like, I don't know. What are your views on this? Yeah, I haven't really thought about it. They just can't. They have to give an opinion.
There needs to. I want some gatekeepers back, and what I mean by that is like, dude, everyone has a voice. You used to have to be like, I don't know, educated or vetted in some capacity. Like if you wanted to write an article for the newspaper, you had to be a journalist. Yeah. You know what I mean? Now it's
you have credentials.
Yeah, literally everybody.
Now every asshole's a journalist.
Right. I'm just like, no, we need some gatekeepers. The other thing I always think is funny is when people like, I'll be your voice. I'm like, it's 2022. Everybody has a fucking voice.
Yeah.
Like
there's a lot of that, a lot of standing in for people. You know, I always say it's always it's always like, wealthy white women in college universities who like
white liberal women.
They're like taking on the victimhood for people who don't need it. You know, like I'm pretty sure the black community could defend themselves. I don't think they need white women traipsing in and giving their opinion on it. You know, like
no, you're 100% right.
You know, like they're like more offended than the victim. It's like you can't be more offended than the victims.
I'll be your voice. Yeah, no, they got it under control. I'm like, it's gross.
Dude, I had a buddy in here a couple weeks ago, my buddy Billy, and he was telling me he was a manager at Gotham Comedy Club, and he was telling me how he had. One of the Dominican bouncers had pulled someone out who was talking. It was an Indian couple, and he told me, "You're gonna quiet down," and whatever. And they're like, "Oh," they cried racism and like Black Lives Matter. It's like, can Indian people claim Black Lives Matter? I don't know. What is the ruling on that? Where does it end?
I'm gonna rule on it.
Here's Don Zollo's ruling.
No.
That's it.
No.
Oh, man. This is fun, dude. Always a pleasure, my man.
No,
this will be coming out the week after Thanksgiving. So
I've done
2 weeks.
East Coast you, I've done West Coast you, and I've done Cyber you.
Cyber me.
Yeah.
Sounds kinky.
Yeah.
Do you remember doing that as a kid, cybering on the old internet?
No, that wasn't a thing when I was a child.
Well, no, when you were like, teenager. I'm not a fucking 6-year-old. Oh, God, no. But like, remember what cybering was?
No, what is cybering?
When you go into a public AOL chat room, find a complete stranger, and jerk off with them.
Oh, I would just go into a bathroom at
No.
a rest stop.
It was like sexting online, like in the early days on dial-up internet.
Never did it.
No, good. Yeah. I had a like it was a popular thing. Because you like get pictures of naked chicks. Like, hey, send me a picture of yourself, and they'd email you a photo. And it would take 5 minutes for it to load, all pixelated. You had to buffer.
Right. Well, that was that generation's scramble cable. You know?
Oh yeah,
scramble cable nipples.
Oh, dude, we had the illegal set-top box. Those stolen ones. You could get it for free.
Dude,
Spice Channel.
We had this thing. I'm convinced this was only in my hometown. And how somebody found this out, I have no idea. But the back of our cable box was a metal plate, and it had tons of little holes in it. Like they were like maybe a centimeter big. And somebody figured out that if you were to take a bobby pin and put it through the hole of the cable box and scrape it on the floor of the cable box, it gave you every channel. And it would last for like 3 days. And this is like, as far as I know, my hometown is the only one that ever cracked this code. But we would have cable when I was like 10. Like,
nice.
And it was amazing. No more scrambled
You know
nipples.
what I realized about the Spice Channel now that I think about it?
We never had that. That wasn't offered in my hometown.
Okay,
I heard about it.
I mean, it was porn, but they didn't show any penetration.
Yeah.
Now that I recall. It was harder core porn than what you
Then we see on Cinemax.
Yeah.
But
you wouldn't see any, like, penny.
Yeah. You know Robert Schimmel?
Of course. Fucking legend, dude. So funny.
Love Robert Schimmel.
I'm going to go watch some of his old clips after this.
He used to do, my two favorite jokes that he did was one of them, he talked about hotel porn. And he's like, yeah, you know, so I'm alone in the hotel room, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, I'm watching it. And he goes, they don't really show anything from the waist down. And he's just, the guy's just sitting. He's like, yeah, you like that? And I'm just like, what the fuck? He goes, I got the yellow pages. I'm standing next to the TV.
Trying to look down.
He's like, I'm standing on the yellow pages. I was like, oh my God. And then this is one of my favorite jokes. I laughed so hard when I saw this. Oh my God. I saw him do it live. He talked about, he goes, I've been trying to have a threesome with my wife for years. Like, she wouldn't even address it. I at least got her to talk about it now. She's like, listen, all right, we can bring another woman into the bedroom, but if we're going to do this, first, we have to bring another man into the bedroom for me.
God.
And he goes, okay, like, I'm going to let that fucking happen. So I'm sucking this guy's dick. I lost it. Like, I couldn't control, like, it was like one of those laughs. Like, I couldn't stop for like an hour. And just with his look too.
Yeah.
His look was perfect for that joke. He was one of my favorite of all time.
He was so good. And I love that he worked right up until he keeled over. It's fucking sad where he went, but he was fucking great.
He was unbelievable. He's one of the reasons that I did comedy. And my cool Robert Schimmel story is I was listening to him once on Howard Stern. It was before I ever got into comedy, and I was so intimidated to get into comedy. And I wrote him an email. He was on Howard.
You're that guy, I guess. If Don's out here doing fucking Facebook posts about politics, of course he'll write a letter to his heroes. I'm sure you wrote a letter to Larry Bird.
No, but I've met Larry several times. We're practically best friends.
So I'm sucking off Larry Bird.
So I wrote an email to Schimmel. Well, I was like, oh, this is Schimmel. I love this guy. And I wrote him an email, and I went to the gym, and I drove back from the gym, and he was still on Stern. And then I went to my computer, and there was a reply. And he replied while he was at Howard Stern.
What did you say to him?
I was just like, hey, man, I love watching you do comedy. I think it's unbelievable. You're so funny. I'm like, I've been thinking about getting comedy. I'm really, scared. What do you think I should do? And he was encouraging in his email.
Oh, nice.
I should see if I can track that email down.
Oh, was it like on an old AOL account or something?
I still have it. I still have the email account.
Dude, that's one. We'll end on this. That's one scary thing I've noticed, dude. Because I've had Gmail now for since 2001 or whatever. Mm-hmm. If you really want to make yourself feel bad, you can go back in your Gmail account and look at the exchanges you had with old ex-girlfriends and shit. Yeah, God, it's humiliating. Things I've written to.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I mean, because 2002, I was in college.
Yeah.
I'll write an email to some broad. It's like, oh my.
And also
God,
just the nature of messages has changed so much. Like I look back at I'll see on this day on Facebook, and I read what I would write in 2008, and I'm like, never mind the gist of the message. I'm just like, this is just so fucking stupid because we were still figuring out online out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'd be like, this is cringeworthy. But that's part of being an adult is you cringe at what you used to do. And that's something
I cringe at shit I did last week, fucking, let alone the last decade.
That's something the young generation doesn't get is the humility to be like, yeah, I'm probably a fucking idiot right now.
Well, because they're in the middle of making humiliating decisions right now. Young people don't know that they're going to look back and be ashamed of themselves.
Right. I just wish...
And they should be reminded of this daily.
I wish I had all the wisdom and humility and life experience that these 23-year-olds have.
Oh, dude, I walk around now knowing I'm going to be ashamed of myself soon. I'm just... in a few years, I'm going to be ashamed of current me.
How about this? You watch old bits and you're like, oh my God, I used to be proud of that. I thought that was an incredible joke.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, there's clips from this podcast that I fucking still shake my head about. I'm sure I'll post some from this episode.
You mean this particular
podcast?
What I was saying to you 15 minutes ago is just a pile of shit.
Pile of shit.
All right.
What do you got coming up, dude? What do you got going on? This will be December.
I don't have much because I'm out here and I'm just playing it by ear and just seeing.
Well, you come see me and Donnie in Tempe, Arizona.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to Arizona.
December 7th. It'll be
I hear nothing but amazing things about people about Arizona in general, and then you and Jeff Dye always fucking talk that place up like it's Disney World almost.
Yeah, we'll have a good time. We'll fucking doing a little corporate gig. Having Donnie open for me. We'll see. I'm going to make sure the check clears before they fire me in the middle of my set.
Could you imagine two less corporate appropriate humans?
I know. Look, God bless the woman. She's a great friend of mine. She runs a very successful real estate business down there. But like, she knows.
Yeah, she knows what she's in for. I know that
she follows me on Instagram. Right. She's seen me live. She knows what I do. So
yeah. So this is on her.
Yeah, she might lose some clients over this, but we'll have fun.
But we'll have a fun party.
What do I got coming up? December 2nd and 3rd, I'll be in Seattle with old Jeff Dye. And then the DC Improv, the 8th through 11th, also with Jeff Dye. The corporate gigs in Arizona, I don't think it's open to the public, but if you know me, hit me up. You can come to the show. All right, guys, that's it for this one. You got anything, Donnie? What do you got coming? Nothing, right?
Nothing.
So follow Donnie at Don Zollo.
Now I'm on a quest to get over 143 Twitter followers or Instagram followers. So come follow me so that I, don't have to drive my car into traffic.
Yeah, follow him on Facebook so you can see his rants.
Yeah. They're not even rants. They're just well thought out perspectives that people have a problem with.
They're just shredders that people, get upset about. So. All right, guys, that's it for this one. We love you guys. We'll check you next week. Peace.